All right. What's up, everybody? This is going to be very good. And I wanted to give a little bit of background to this because, you know, my whole world is in growing product businesses, growing products. You know, my background's in product development. I'm a manufacturer. I'm designing and manufacturing products every single day. And I got into this whole world of talking to people about growing their business because if you don't sell it, I don't get to make it. And it's really simple. After working with hundreds of companies of all sizes, startups, entrepreneurs, massive companies, I realized that big companies and entrepreneurs, they do things really, really differently and to each other's detriment, right? Entrepreneurs can move really quickly and they think of innovative things and they take risks. Big companies aren't so great with the risks. They have massive resources, but they don't really know how to deploy them. But big businesses figure out problems, they figure out market spaces, and then they build products to fulfill those needs in general. Right? We've seen big companies make massive blunders, but usually it's because they think that they're too cool and that they're going to act like entrepreneurs who kind of just wing it. Conversely, Boeing doesn't build a fighter jet and then ask the US government if they've ever tried flying before. Entrepreneurs kind of do that each day. And I was just sick of seeing people blow a bunch of money and have products gathering dust in their basement or in their garage and wondering, how the hell am I going to sell this thing? So that's why I have the podcast. That's why I hop on Zooms every week, walk people through the obstacles in their business. That's why I'm doing this right now. And I have the Facebook group, and I just like having this conversation because it helps me learn. It helps me build my network, and yeah, it grows my product businesses too. So I appreciate the opportunity to share what information that I've learned. And yeah, really simple. I asked everybody in my network, I said, hey, what's out of all the stuff that I talk about, what's the thing that you'd actually pay? You'd pay every month to hear me talk about or have me solve that problem. And all but one person, so a couple dozen people, all but one person said some flavor of, hey, I want to sell more product. I want to figure out how to market and sell my product. So I thought, let's talk about that. Okay. I don't want to cover everything, but I want to cover how I think about this, how I help people grow, and just break down really, really simple structure and foundation for you to work on. And then I'm going to give you 5 simple strategies that actually work that you can deploy that aren't spending a bunch of money on ads and that aren't discounting the value that you provide. So I think one of the craziest things in the world is that a lot of experts, their biggest strategy is run discounts, spend money on ads to lose money on your product. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a no good for me. That should be no good for you. So let's hop into this and I will share. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so here we go. Let's share our tab. Great. Here I am. Wonderful. All right, so e-commerce sales growth secrets. You know, if you follow me, I'm not very good at keeping secrets. So generally, if I learn something, I share it. And if you want to work with me as a coach or consultant, usually I push people to the podcast or I push people to the group. But what you end up paying for with a good coach or a good thought leader of any kind is you pay for context and accountability, you pay for access, right? Taking these things and putting them in the context of your business and putting them in the sequence which you can actually utilize them. I think I did a pretty good job today. Let me know in the comments or DM me how well I've done to make this simple and put it in the sequence that makes sense that you can actually deploy. But if you're wondering, yeah, I don't really believe in secrets. I believe in sharing information because you guys probably know something or tried something that I don't. And the reason that I know all of anything that I know is because I've collaborated and I've worked with somebody. So I like sharing information because it is the fastest way to learn for sure. Let's talk about foundation. The reason why a lot of these strategies that people sell, these tactics that they sell, or they say, do this one thing, is that they kind of float out in space. They don't do anything specifically. They're like, I'm going to, we say, point optimization. I'm going to increase this one piece of your business without attention to the rest of it. So I'm going to break the system. So this is why ads cost a bunch of money, but don't create long-term growth. This is why running spam emails don't work. This is why a lot of the tactics that people sell programs on, they can never work, and they're total scams, not because the information is necessarily wrong or bad, which oftentimes it may be as well. Not trying to hate, just saying. People recycle a lot of old stuff. That's not the point, is that it's going into a business system, but they're not addressing the whole business system. If I were to send you 10,000 new customers, you don't know how to process them. If I was to send you 10,000 new followers into your group, or send you 1 million visitors to your site, like, you couldn't process with the business system the journey that we're going to go on. So this is how I look at it, is we need to lay a foundation, simple strategies across the customer journey, and we need a comprehensive brand experience, something that's coherent and cohesive. So we give an opportunity to create fans and create customers and create sharing across their journey with us. Or just really simple, we need some strategies from when they don't know us and we need to get their attention to when we want to keep them, retention. And if you're really good, referral, keep them around, they're loyal, they share, all that stuff. But we need to look at that entire spectrum. So that's how I'm going to break down the 5 strategies today, is we're just going to put something in each of these buckets. Because like I said, ads just create traffic. It only solves a piece of the problem. So yes, I can get new customers in. I can get cold traffic customers in. Yes, I can do retargeting campaigns to bring people in. Yes, I can do renewal campaigns to hit people on my list or bring them back to my brand. But it's super expensive, especially those last 2, retargeting and renewal, if traffic's going to a broken system. Hey man, they didn't buy in the first place because your conversion's kind of terrible. So what makes you think that you can afford to have them buy again, or when they hit the second time? So understand that ads aren't the unlock, ads are fuel. They're just sending more traffic to something that's terrible. It's not going to work. We need to look at something that actually will be viable across for the lifetime of that customer, which is hopefully forever. And just as an aside, discounting is death. There is smart ways to offer discounts, but in general, this is such a stupid strategy. It's one of the dumbest things ever, because it is recommended so often. And you see this, like, we have a whole holiday for it, Black Friday. Stop training your customers to wait for sales. When you actually offer discounts, there's crazy math behind this, and I don't want to bore people with it, but essentially what you're doing is you're pulling in future sales at a discounted rate, and you're creating a vacuum of sales that you're not going to have in the future. Really easy examples for this is when you used to have the little, pre-sale for restaurants type of things, where you would buy, like, oh, I'm going to get 20 pizzas for $5 in the future, and the restaurants would get the money, but then it would create this vacuum where people didn't come back, and they're trained to wait for sales, trained to wait for discounts. They weren't fans of the pizza joint. They're not fans of your brand. They're fans of saving money. I like saving money too. I'm going to show you how to offer discounts at the end where it makes sense. But stop training your audience, your customers, the world, that you're worth less. Okay. And then as we move into this, I want to talk about this core concept. Really easy to understand. There are 3 levers in any business to increase your revenue: raising prices, selling to new customers, or selling new products, preferably to existing customers. So we have these 3 levers. And I want to show you that at each step, this is really simple. As we map out the customer journey, Lots of ways of looking at that. We'll look at it in a second. But then how do we deploy each of these levers at each step? So how can we sell something that's more expensive or better? Big companies right now are raising their prices and hitting record profits, even with inflation, even with supply chain problems. They're raising their prices by making their products smaller, just straight up increasing their price, cleverly bundling products, turning them into subscriptions, things that we'll talk about. But they're making tons of money. For some reason, everybody that I talk to in ecom, they're like, I don't know what to do. Raise your price. Figure out how you can raise your price without ruining your customers. New customers, how do you get new people into the system? How do you get new people to take action or engage at that step? I really want to move you off of just thinking about ads as the only way to do this. So many great ways of offering this. And then the third thing is probably my favorite, but hey, I'm a product guy. I like developing products, but we'll look at that lever. So what can we offer somebody at each stage of their evolution that's going to entice them, draw them in, keep them around? How are we going to use this? But new products are amazing. If you introduce a new product and you have a list of 10,000 people, you can do your conversion rate calculations. Hey, that's good. It's good money. And you can use that to get new customers, and you can use that to bundle and raise prices. I like new products. And if you follow me, you know that I like to sell other people's products because I get a new product that I can sell to everybody. I don't have to carry inventory. I can make money with very low investment to existing customers. I like having options, but here's the three levers. There's only really these three ways of making money in a business: is your price, your customers, and your product. So you think of this, we need to mix these up, and we need to ask at each of these steps, what strategy can we deploy? So if you followed my marketing training, you know that I tell people, hey, if we look at the business, really what people think of marketing is, bringing a product to market is attention and nurturing. So if we look at a customer journey from our framework, it's attention, nurturing, conversion, support. Very simple. And there's lots of versions of this. Some of them are very complicated. You can think of it as simple as possible. I think this is as simple as possible, and it's as useful as possible. There's not much utility in making this more complicated. Your product in an industry could be special. Everybody wants to be special. It probably is not. We can probably describe your customer through these 4 steps. And we can use this as a starting point. We can try it. We can augment it. Maybe you want to break out after support, you want to break out referral or retention. And that makes more sense in your head. I don't care. There's no actual rules to this, but most people are just worrying about attention. And then most people, if they're really, really in it, they're worried about conversion. Very few people think about nurturing and support, where in reality, those are the biggest money makers. Those are the biggest money makers because you're not going to pay for customer acquisition. You've already acquired the customer. All right, so let's talk simple strategies. If you're just starting out, if you look at complex systems, hey, we're going to have this super crazy funnel and email sequence, and we're going to do this thing and this thing and this thing. That looks cool, and it entices a lot of people. They look at those big ebooks, and then you boil it down. You look at complex marketing literature, look at all of these like testing strategies. People make stuff complicated because it employs them as a consultant. It employs them as a coach. In reality, most things get boiled down to pretty simple strategies. The issue is that we can build complexity over time when you have a team to help you manage it, when you have really awesome network of partners that are experts at those pieces. But stop looking at the complex systems of mature companies and then saying, oh, I'm going to copy what this big company does. Because if you build massively complex architecture, and your foundation is broken, it's just going to crumble. It metaphorically makes sense, but in real life, you're probably not even going to be able to build out that architecture. It's just going to be some broke version of that on a broken foundation. And you're going to wonder, why is my basement filled with product that I can't move? Why is my garage, I can't park my car in it because it's filled with whatever your idea is. It's not because the idea is terrible. It's because you haven't built a business. You haven't built a business system. So let's talk about traffic. Could do a whole massively long show on any of these pieces, but here is a really basic premise of traffic. And really ads work off this same premise as well, is that you're buying attention, right? Talk about attention and boiling it down to something as simple as that all the time. But look, this is other people's people, OPP. Mark Zuckerberg, he owns all the people. He owns billions and billions of people. So what you're doing is you're renting his list. You're renting the eyeballs of his customers. That's great. It's also very vast, very competitive, and it's not very targeted. But if you look at other strategies to bring in traffic, well, influencer marketing, we could dive in deep and I could tell you a lot of reasons why it works and doesn't work. Affiliates, I like that a little bit more, right? Because we can be very targeted. And if you look at affiliate marketing, look at all of the amazing brands that have been built on the back of YouTube celebrities, right? Or just like moderately successful YouTubers. I think of Movement Watches. I think of every supplement brand ever. And just providing that little discount code to track all those affiliate networks. It's allowed people like Gymshark to turn into $1 billion business. It's allowed all kinds of great brands to bubble up, and you get to be pretty targeted about who gets to join your business, which I like that. And you get a more long-term relationship, and it's helpful that you don't pay out money on speculative returns. You pay out a percentage of the actual sales. So that's nice too. And then of course, if you know me, I think of partnerships. Who already owns my audience? We'll talk about this a little bit more, but I could literally talk to you for hours and hours about how this works in your business. It's super amazing. If you talk about sales partnerships, you talk about distribution or retail partnerships, you can talk about making special editions of your product for someone, with someone, and selling to their list. Like you can talk about all kinds of partnerships, and there's great ways of pulling that together. I have a ton of content on that on the podcast and in the Facebook groups. So if you're interested in how this works and how you can figure out who to partner with, find those partners, pitch them, build products together, build offers together by cross-selling or upselling or bundling, let's talk. DM me or just get into the group and start participating, and I'll get that information to you. But that is, I think, one of the strongest and easiest strategies that are out there if you really want to scale up. It's almost so powerful, though, that you want to get these other things right first. That's why we're going to loop back to it. So I want to talk about this customer journey. So look at that second step, nurture. I'm going to give you one really powerful strategy here because we could talk about a ton of things. Everybody's obsessed with, is my email sequence converting, or is my newsletter the way to go? How many people actually read those newsletters? How many people love to get a newsletter? I have a couple that I love to get, but those companies put an overwhelming amount of effort into them. They have a whole team that does nothing but create newsletters. You probably don't have those resources, or probably don't care to develop or pay for those resources, right? So look, where else can you build community? And it might be great for you for a Facebook group, great. Private Facebook group, great. I've seen that very successfully. It might be your podcast. It might be your YouTube channel. You find a method that works for you, and you can build a community around it. This gives you a place to put really engaging content, and content can support people from getting attention. Not really. It's hard to go viral intentionally with the content, but it can definitely nurture people. It can support people, showing them how to use the product, working through their problems. interviewing them, engaging with them. It can be a place for your user-generated content, which if you're talking about nurturing people, testimonials, that kind of positive peer pressure, very powerful tool to nurture people. Hey, other people bought this product. Look, oh, they love it. Look how good they look with this. Look how happy they look with this. It's going to move me along a little bit into the next, into that convert stage. But this gives you a home base. It facilitates the entire journey. It can increase retention. It becomes your platform to then be able to continually work with customers. I want to rail against email because email works great for like cart drop situations. Works great for like an email campaign or blast. But in general, who reads those daily or even weekly emails? It's kind of annoying, right? So really simple, nurture. We can talk about lots of different strategies, but I'd say, where can you build community where you can continue to grow people and people can collaborate and communicate together? So how can you do that as a brand? Well, you can't just sell stuff. You have to be about something. You have to have a mission. You have to have something you talk about. You have to be contributing towards transformation in these people's lives. And once you start doing that, now you're on the way to building a brand versus selling products. We can get into this conversation. I talk about it all the time, but like, we want to be more than just some person pushing product. So let's get into conversion. Really straightforward strategy here. Conversion rate optimization. I have a great template and worksheet to walk through to audit sites and talk about this. But look, even a 1% lift from 2% to 3% conversion when somebody hits the page, that means that if you're paying, like, take what you're paying for traffic. If you're paying $2 a click, you're paying $1 a click even, that's a 50% boost of your sales, just conversion rate optimization. And a lot of these are very simple solves. Page load, speed, using the user-generated content from the community, having explanation videos, having testimonials, having reviews on the page. Very simple strategies can give you small lifts in your conversion rate. And I'm a numbers guy. I like to look at it. I look to look at each piece of this journey and say, like, what's my percentage win? But in general, people they're not hitting 1%. They're hitting 2%. And then you see winning brands, they'll run a campaign with a landing page and they're hitting 5%. Well, the difference between 2% and 5%, that means you could pay twice as much for a customer. That means that you would have, your whole system would just work better, right? But if we look at this is a small lever that we can pull on, and we know that we're not sending traffic to trash, right? And by having the community where we're creating content, we can work on messaging, right? Like, remember at the beginning where I said, hey, I polled everybody and asked them, like, hey, what would you be interested in? You want to talk about marketing? You want to talk about prototyping? What do you want to talk about? Operations, manufacturing, sourcing? What do you want to talk about? And the vast majority of people said that they wanted to learn how to sell their products. They wanted to increase sales of their product. And so I know that if I were to put a landing page, that would be an offer that would entice people. As you go out and you follow my customer interview script, as you engage with customers and you figure out what problems they actually have, and you start messaging that in your community and your home base, you can start taking those things and you can start changing your messaging on your product page, on your main page, on your landing pages, so it resonates better, so it hits better. And that's really a very easy feedback system to increase your conversion rate, right? So this isn't some magic one-hit kill. This is me saying, look, speak with data, analyze this number. We want to do these things to improve the probability of your success on this page. You can find lots of checklists. I have my own checklist. But just work through those. Have I done this thing? Have I done this thing? You know, and you will increase your conversion rate. Very easy. And support. So our fourth bucket here, Lots of ways of doing this. People put zero effort into support. They think that if I have a phone number or really hard to find email address on the site, like that's good enough. And look, here's your opportunity to go over the top. We can talk about overzealous customer support. We can talk about making training programs to allow people to use your product better or to share it better. But I'm going to give you a really simple one. I'm a fan of fancy boxes. I like when somebody gets it, that there's a QR code where they can go to the site. Here's a way to make this even better. Really simple strategy is make your product easy to share. Okay, I want it to be easy to share online. I want people to want to put it in their Instagram, put it on their Facebook. I want people to get excited about it. Yeah, great. We can do that with handwritten notes. We can do that with surprise and delight, little mechanisms. But here is an easy one, just straightforward. And it's really, this is the only time that I'm going to advocate for discounting. This is a great place to put discounting in your system or in your strategy. Try it without discounting though. When you get your product, give people the opportunity to buy. When's the best time to sell? Is right after somebody's purchase. That's why you see so many upsells. That's why you go into those crazy funnels and they're like, and then this, and then this. I know it's annoying, but it works. I don't want you to be annoying, but I want when somebody gets the product for it to have an opportunity. What can they buy right then? Or how can they share right then? So what if you have a referral program that says, hey, send this to somebody else. When they buy, they're going to get a 10% discount and you get a 10% discount. 10% discount on your next order when you share. There's plugins and there's platforms that allow you to do this very easily. No problem. But you can do this old school and just have a card in there or have that QR code that when you go to the site, it gives the discount code. Really simple ways of doing this. In reality, what you're trying to do is you probably paid a hefty amount to acquire that customer. Now you don't have to pay that fee again to acquire them as a customer. So when they take action, if your discount is lower than your customer acquisition cost, you're still coming out ahead. Does that make sense? Say it costs you $50 to acquire a customer. Let's reduce that price a little bit. You need to increase your conversion rate, right? A little bit better. But let's say that it costs $50 and your product is $200. You could offer a 25% discount and come out even with your normal sales of a new customer sale. So if you offered a 10% discount or a 20% discount, you're coming out ahead over a new customer. Now, if you offer that as a way of sharing to get a new customer, well, you know that you pay $50 for a new customer and you say, hey, I'll give you a 20% discount. Well, now you're paying $40 to acquire that new customer, not $50. You understand what I'm saying? So you're actually making more money on that new customer that was referred versus the cold traffic that you would spend with, say, a Facebook ad. So this is why referral programs are really very interesting, and why they actually save you money with the discount is because the customer acquisition cost in general would be more expensive than the discount. So I think it's really fun. But look, when you understand the levers and you understand the customer journey and you look at really simple strategies and you put them into place, you're creating leverage across your business. You're creating expertise. You're moving towards building an iconic brand versus some person that's just pushing stuff. When you're out there in the market and you're selling things that people want to share, you have this community of followers. You have partnered successfully, whether it's affiliates or small people to do special editions or however you've moved in the market. This puts you at a place of elevation. You have a good idea, but you have great execution. You understand this whole map, this whole customer journey. It puts you at a great place to then take this for partnerships. When you have a foundation, you can create partnerships with somebody where you can use their customer base, so other people's people, You can partner with bigger brands because you demonstrably know how to execute. I really want to push you towards considering how to partner. Now, if you are having a problem or you're struggling with figuring out who your partners could be, what I want you to think is customer centric. I want you to think of, what is my customer trying to feel? Who are they trying to become? What goals are they trying to achieve by buying this product? And what are all the other things that could help them achieve that goal? And I call this ecosystem sales, but there's probably a program. There's probably a totally different product. There's lots of things that help somebody do this thing, whether it's lose weight, run faster, make their house look great, whatever it is. There's always multiple other things that aren't like your product that help people feel or achieve whatever it is that they're trying to do. And all of those are potential partners. And when you're competent, you can actually absorb the increased sales that this strategy will create. If somebody has an email list of 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 customers, and you start cross-selling with them, or you do a campaign with them, can you absorb the level of success that partnership can bring? If you look at the customer journey and you put in simple strategies, the answer is yes. If you don't, and you want to cut to this as a silver bullet method, the answer is no. You'll be like, what do I have to offer? I don't understand. Like, why would somebody want to team up with me? And it's because you're going to save them time and money, and you're going to offer something of benefit to their customer. You're going to help them build their brand. They're going to help build your brand. But when you follow these strategies, partnerships becomes a way to create leverage across everything that you're doing, versus kind of having to give stuff up. Instead of pitching people, they'll already be there. So I love the idea of unlocking sales for people. I want to talk to you about your marketing. I want to talk to you about prototyping, sourcing, working through the logistics problems that we have now. I want to talk to you about operations, like how to actually run a product, business, and brand. That's too much. That's too much for one little live stream. So look, if you're interested in growing, if you want to take your brand from where it is to where it should be, could be, or you want it to be, book a call. So collabproducts.com/book. We'll spend 30 minutes and we'll work through my system, what obstacles that you have, and we'll figure out one clear strategy to move you forward. We can't solve all the problems in 30 minutes, but we can talk about one big thing, see if there's a good fit, how I can help you more. In the meantime, I have End Hype Podcast, arguably one of the top podcasts on product businesses in the world. I give away a lot of information on that. Check it out. I have my Facebook group. We're launching a private Facebook group. I'd love to message you more about that. But I want to put out all of the information that you need to build $1 million brand. So I appreciate your time, but check out that content and book a call when you're ready. So that's it. I appreciate you. And I'll check you out later.